Good morning, Xbox. Yes, welcome everybody to episode number 73 of Good Morning Xbox. Getting ready to go. It's going to be a phenomenal day. We hope that you're already having a great start to your day, your evening, your night, whatever it might be in your neck of the woods. As always, my fantastic panel is on standby and ready to go. We will start with this fantastic and charismatic young lady up to the top of my screen with the phenomenal blue hair. It is the one, the only, the always, Cool Cat Terri.
Hello, world! I am here again to grace you with my presence. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we're looking forward to have a good show and all the good things. So, yes, let's get it.
Let's get it. We'll try to keep this one on track, and we'll try to bring Cool Cat Terri's indie spotlight in a little bit closer to the actual spot where it should be, as opposed to at the end where it seemed to be landing the last little while due to whatever. But also, another fantastic panel member. Man's always got the great backgrounds and the cool Xbox swag. Yes, he is the phenomenal host of the Iconic Video Games Podcast. Shout out to him again for another incredible show on Friday night. Ton of fun. If you haven't had it, I'm sure he'll tell you about it. Go check it out. It is Axel1324.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. Oh man, I'm ready to get this morning started right, talking about some games. Let's do it.
All right, and we do have a very special guest coming all the way from down under with us this morning. Her name, she definitely lives up to the first half. I'm not sure why they call her that, but we'll find out. It is the one, the only streamer extraordinaire, Doom Cutie.
Hey, how's it going?
Just gotta ask you, Doom. I never did ask you before. How did you come up with that name? Where did that come from?
I mean, lots of people ask me that actually, but I will say one of the first games I ever played was Doom, and I remember playing it on a little floppy disk, and it was on multiple floppy disks actually, the full game. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, what is computer games? What is this? But also I did a little bit of research, and I looked at people who were, I guess, a little bit prominent, and I wanted something catchy, something that people would recognize. So I guess I got it right. I don't know.
Well, we're just happy it's not Doom Cutie XXI, 1224/52.
I know. There's so many. Like, actually, Doom Cutie is taken on Xbox, for example.
Oh, darn.
So I have to have the 1 instead of the I. And this person hasn't actually logged on in, I think, 7 years. So, and I still can't take that gamer tag. So, yeah, you win some, you lose some. But yeah, I need to change the I.
They should be considered abandoned domains at this point.
Well, you would think so. Maybe it's 10 years. I don't know. Surely there's a letter that I can write somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, can I have this, please? I'll give you commission money or something. But yeah. Speaking of gamer tags, just curious, is everybody here like your name's on screen? Is that what you use as a gamer tag? Does everybody have their original gamer tag? Just curious, because I know a lot of people went through changes. Cool Cat.
Yep, I already used the Cool Cat Terri moniker before I had an Xbox, so I just adopted it to my gamer tag, and I've never changed it.
That's awesome. And yours the same, Axel?
So mine, I originally just wanted Axel, but that was taken back in the America Online days, if you remember.
Oh, jeez.
And
wow,
so
the age is showing on this panel now. Floppy disk and AOL? What the hell?
So it's really funny because Axel is just the letters of my name mixed up.
Yeah.
And so I just decided to mix up the first 4 letters, the first 4 numbers too, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got it to 1324. And I used to say it 1, 3, 2, 4, but then everybody would misspell it. Oh, you mean 1, 2, 3, 4? No, 1, 3, 2, 4. Like I would slow it down. 1, 3, 2, 4, and they were like, "Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4." I'm like, "No." So then when I started saying it 1324, they started spelling it right. So yeah, my username came from AOL, and it's what I've always had. So if you ever want to see my history, just search Axel1324. You'll see me since I was like 13 years old.
Is your real name cool. Then X? Is your real name Xlax?
I was thinking the same thing, Noof.
Oh man. And obviously Doom Cutie, you've gone with that, but with the 1, and you've had that pretty much since inauguration.
Well, so I actually had a private. I actually have my actual name as a gamer tag with no numbers after it, which is pretty cool. So I have a history of Xbox that isn't public. Not
Oh,
no one actually is my friend on that account. But when I decided to start content creating and introducing my gaming and geeky side into the public eye, I decided to start afresh. So
well, just gonna say we love it. It's awesome. I've always maintained this, and I've said from day one we need more female gamers to represent, to come forward. I know a lot of them
hell
are
yeah,
because they get harassed.
that's so true.
They get harassed. I kind of get it. I know why some kind of stay out of the spotlight for that reason. Like they get harassed one way or the other. It's either verbal harassment, sexual harassment. It's all of the above, and it's unfortunate. Because we have Cool Cat Terri on the panel, and I can't imagine this panel without her. She just adds a new dynamic, and there's lots of topics that we touch on sometimes too, and you kind of go, well, geez, this would be great if we could get a female perspective here, because we always look at it through a very narrow lens. So I love that we have a very diverse panel here, and we definitely need more ladies out there representing gaming, because I know there's a lot that play, but it seems like very few, kind of come forward and embrace the spotlight a little bit. So. You seem like you're embracing it quite a bit. You've got quite a following and seem to be doing quite well. Like, obviously, an Xbox ambassador, and you go to some of the shows and stuff. And I think you were just recently at one of the PAX, right?
Yes, I was. I was there as part of the media and also part of influencer crew.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was amazing. We haven't had an in-person event. I think it was like 1,000 days since we'd had a PAX, something like that. So it was really amazing to be there. I was there with I write reviews for Game on Oz. It's an Australian gaming review site. And yeah, we had an amazing time, and I was, like I said, I was so appreciative to be there. The energy was great, like just awesome, so good. But I think it's I do it not for the amount of people that I have. It's more about the passion that I have for it, and I used to look around at other streamers and other females in the realm, and I was like, I just don't vibe with any particular person. I didn't really see myself in anyone else, and I was like, well, hang on. Well, why don't I just do that? So yeah, that's kind of where it all started.
Well,
not that this show's about me, Noof. Okay, the show isn't about me.
No, but it's the first time that you've guested here on Good Morning Xbox, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just seeing you for the first time, or and people are curious, like, who is this and what's she all about? So so we're glad we could have you here. We got an amazing chat, by the way, as well, and we got to acknowledge them right off the bat here. Yeah. Starting with our good friend of the show and also a co-panel member of the Iconic Video Games podcast, we got Doggy Dog 420. I knew I heard that. Woof woof. What's going on, Doggy Dog? And he drops a super chat immediately, as he always does. Happy Sunday, Noof panel and chat. Thank you so much, Doggy Dog. You are one of the best, brother. Your energy is infectious, and it shows on Friday nights. Yeah, absolutely. We got your Wicked Hot hanging out with us this morning. What's going on, Wicked? Good to see you, man. We got to play more games. It's been too long. We got Dragonheart Yobi. It's going to be a good show when Dragonheart gets up bright and early and embraces us with his presence. We got General Spartan, Jacob Novik. What's happening? We've got Tim A is in the house. What's going on, Timmy?
Hi, Timmy. Hello.
Louise Vivian, I think that's the name we recognize. Frequents Axel's chats. Axel's biggest supporter.
That's right. That's my wife. Thank you so much for supporting me.
Oh, that's adorable. Stop.
And many more here this morning. So thank you guys so much. You are fantastic. And we love you for it. That's great. So hopefully let's have a good show. Let's jump right into, I guess, topic number one. Well, what's everybody been playing, though? Just curious. Cool Cat, what have you been up to?
I've been playing lots and lots of Steel Rising, and I'm getting pretty close to the end. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's my game of the year from what I've played this year, and I've just been loving it. And I feel like it was definitely a game that deserved to get some nominations this year, and it got completely blown over by other indies, just because they, were just more popular in the in media. So it's a shame because it's a great game. I'm really, really loving it.
I have seen video on it, and it looks very, very cool indeed. And I trust your judgment because your indie spotlights are always bang on the money. So check that out, guys. Steel Rising, if you get a chance. Just because it doesn't get nominated for Game Awards doesn't mean it's not worthy of your time and your money. So yeah, how about you, Doom Cutie? What have you been? What's been taking up your time lately?
Oh,
And
I
gaming,
dipped my toes.
gaming. I mean,
I've dipped my toes into the new Need for Speed Unbound.
Nice.
That's a whole lot of fun. People know me as, I have quite a love for Forza, and I've said to many people, I've said, look, don't compare the two, like, it'd be like comparing apples and oranges. Like they're both fruit, they're both racing games, but they're completely different. So yeah, just lots of fun. Really have enjoyed my time playing that. And honestly, I know this is an Xbox, but I have had a character inside World of Warcraft for 11 years, and I have resurrected her in this latest expansion. And can I just say, if anyone has previously played and all of a sudden felt disillusioned or just like, oh, this isn't for me anymore or anything like that, please jump into the new expansion because it's honestly the most, there's no pressure. It's light, it's whimsical. I can ride a dragon. It's fantastic. I'm having a great night.
That is phenomenal. Yeah, I did see the dragon riding stuff, and man, World of Warcraft, that's a game franchise that really has legs, doesn't it? It's been going for decades, and it's still rolling. And everybody says too, like, you hear about the Microsoft, Activision Blizzard thing, and it's all you hear is the Call of Duty side, and it's like everybody
Yes,
forgets
exactly.
that World of Warcraft is out there, and it's a license to print money.
Yeah, so ABK really doesn't like hearing Noof talk about them, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was me. I thought I had an issue. But yeah, there's lots of publicity out there about Call of Duty in regards to Blizzard. But we're talking about Diablo. We're talking about World of Warcraft. There are millions of players every single day, and I think Call of Duty gets more attention, obviously, because it's a major franchise. But completely forgetting this PC side.
Oh, like I said, like the bigger part of that pie is we clearly know is the mobile side too, right? Because it's massive. We ignore it because most of us don't spend a lot of time playing games on our phone. But when you think of the multi-millions of people that do, and they invest lots of microtransactions into those little small games, games that are 99 cents or they're free to play, but yet they spend like hundreds of dollars on cosmetic items and things in the game, and you're like, and mobile's huge everywhere. It's not just one country around the world. Where you see like Xbox does really well in certain countries and other ones it struggles. Well, there you go. You kind of end some of your struggles. You get your brand, your Game Pass, whatever you need. You get it in front of more people who are reluctant to buy the box, as I call it. They get playing, and that's what it's all about. It's obviously at the end of the day, it's getting more games to more gamers, but it's also increasing exposure and, of course, making the ecosystem very rewarding and profitable for the people like at Microsoft who do have to spend. I mean, obviously, millions of dollars to upkeep and run the service and keep great games in there. So, yeah. Like I said, that's a topic in itself. We could spend a whole show talking about some of the logistics, but we've heard enough about it. I can't wait till it's all over, one way or the other, bad news or good news. I just can't wait for it to be behind us so we can move on. And Microsoft obviously wants to move on as well and get back to doing what they do best, and that's going out and bringing fantastic new IPs and games to the masses. So, speaking of great new games and IPs, Callisto Protocol comes from the spiritual successor to Dead Space. Glenn Schofield, I think it is, and his team went out and made this love letter, I guess, to that game and sort of brought it back in. We haven't seen an actual Dead Space sequel since Dead Space 3, but from the videos and stuff I've seen, this game looks absolutely phenomenal. Definitely gory, atmospheric. Who's been playing the Callisto Protocol? What do you think of it? and then we'll talk about our sort of ratings cap as to, you know, when do you jump in or when do you jump out? You know, what rating number scares us away from games, if any at all. And let's start with Cool Cat Terri on this one. Cool Cat, are you? I know you said you haven't played it, but are you at least interested in it? Would you pick it up at some point?
No.
Not your bag?
It's not my thing. I'm not into things that are like horror based in general. I just don't really get the thrill of playing them. Most of them tend to be very predictable. So I can't get into them. So it's just not my thing. I'm not interested. And then like, I'm probably gonna be alone here, but I found Dead Space to be one of the most overrated like games ever made. Like it's not that good. To me, I played it. I was very underwhelmed when I played it. It doesn't meet all the hype that people give it to me.
Terry's ready to fight this morning, guys. Get it
Oh,
on.
I feel okay. Wow.
I was gonna say right off the hop, she's throwing.
Yeah,
daggers,
I was
right?
like,
That's a good
He's
thing we
flipping
went with you
tables
first.
already. Let's go. Let's yeah.
I
Flipping
choose
tables.
violence.
Well, that's great.
Okay, but I guess the second half of that question, we'll go back to you on this one, Terry. Then is and this doesn't have to apply necessarily to Callisto, but to any other game. You know, I'm sure it's happened in the past when you wanted a game or at least thought about purchasing the game, and then you kind of see ratings that come out that are either all over the board or they seem to be lingering a little bit east, I guess you could say, of the 80 Metacritic percentile. And does it make you kind of reserved in your judgment, or do you just go in anyway, or do you follow certain reviewers and go, well, that person's always kind of like my kind of jam, so I'm going to trust what they kind of say. Where does it end for you, if any? Because I know, like I said, I've seen people already that want a Callisto Protocol, waited for months, and now they're kind of going, I'll wait for a sale because the scores haven't been quite as high as they had hoped.
Yeah, so like for me, I don't pay attention to Metacritic. It's just for me, I've found a lot of games that I've thoroughly enjoyed that had low scorings, and then games that had really really high scorings I've disliked. So like the score is it's everybody has their own taste in games. Just because certain people decide that game is the best game for them doesn't mean it's the best game for me. So it's just. I tend to not, pay attention to those things in particular. And usually if the game grabs my interest, I'll try it for myself and I'll bring up my own opinion about it. I feel like I shouldn't base whether or not I'm going to like something off of somebody else, because everybody's going to have a different experience when they play the game. So it's reviews to me are not any good. Not to me.
Fair enough. I'm glad you said that. It sounds like you're honest and true and stick to your guns. Let's move down to Axel before we follow up with Doom Cutie. Axel, how about yourself? Are you now more reserved than ever about the Callisto, or you can't wait to jump in? Is horror not your bag? And where do you think about the scores? And do they deter you at all?
So Callisto, the previews deterred me because it was a horror game, and I don't, me, if I don't play horror.
Aw.
But people have said that it's not really a horror game; it's more of a gory game, called gory puzzle style game. And so I watched Dreadpool play it yesterday for about 2 hours. I saw him get hit by a train, and come on, Dreadpool, that's Survival 101. Don't get in the way of the train.
Hit by a train.
Survival 101, buddy. So that was real funny, by the way. And then he seems to have had a good time, and the combat looks intense, is what I'll say it looks like. And the deaths are super duper gory, and it looks like a good game, but I don't know if I'm going to jump into it. I'm on the fence still, and it has nothing to do with review scores. I'm on the fence because the genre is not my bag, but it looks cool,
Right.
and I don't want to buy it just for looks, because me, gameplay is king. I could be playing the most basic looking game in the world and having a good time, as long as the gameplay is great.
Right. But that would explain Vampire Survivors, which everybody's been playing, right?
I thought I have a funny story. So Vampire Survivors got all this praise, like, it invented a new genre, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, it didn't.
No,
I've
it
been playing
didn't.
games like this on my cell phone for like 10,
Right.
15 years. It's just that it did it so well is the difference. It made you feel more rewarded without microtransactions. And so I was so to me, it's more of one of those games that just did what it did really well. Plus, it has kind of that Castlevania feel to it, and the powers just make you feel really awesome once you figure out the pairings. And yeah, it does really well. It has good level designs, has good unlockables, has great characters that you can unlock. Vampire Survivors is just one of those games where it's 100% gameplay based.
Right.
Yeah, so I ended up getting suckered into it for like, I don't even know.
What kind of genre did it create? Pixel swarming? Because when I look at the game, all I see is just a lot of noise, a lot of I don't know, everything just coming at you.
Yeah,
slow progression to that madness,
into it.
Really, yeah, the madness at the end is very satisfying.
It kind of reminds me of Geometry Wars to a certain extent.
Oh, I
just
love
the
Geometry Wars
stuff
too.
Going all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Geometry Wars. It's one of my favorite twin stick shooters. So, yeah.
How about
but yeah,
yourself,
Callisto
Jim?
Protocol, I'm on the fence.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I probably won't, just because usually if I'm on the fence, it's to protect myself, and then if I go over the fence, I end up regretting. So I'd rather stay over here where it's nice and safe in my nice, secure side of the fence.
Right. Fair enough, Axel. Thank you for that. Jim Cutie, how about yourself? Are there any type of ratings that you kind of steer clear of? Obviously, being a reviewer yourself, you look at things a little bit differently. Or does it bother you? Like I said, do you just kind of follow other people and say, yeah, that's the kind of game for me? Go and do you like the genre?
Look, within my own writing team, we all have our strengths and interests. So we try and review games that, lead into those, because there's no point reviewing a game in a genre that you, number one, don't know anything about, number two, hate. So, and I think, and I mean, I work for free. I don't get paid. So whereas maybe larger companies, they get paid. So potentially that could sway their view one way or another. So I guess with any review, you want to take it with a grain of salt. But if you can go and find small writing companies that do it off their own bat, they don't get paid anything. They're not, half the time they're not even given the game. I'd say probably about 50% of the games that my team write about, we aren't given the codes for, and we just do it because we love it. Callisto Protocol, I've seen a lot of stuff about it. At the end of the day, if a AAA game comes out and it has issues, that's not good enough, especially at full price. I think, what is it, $70 in America? That equals almost $120 in Australia. So it's a lot. It's a lot of money to spend on a game that when you're going to put it in, and it might stutter, it might not, all that. Yeah, it's just not good enough. But what I've seen a lot of people streaming it. It looks great. It does. It does have its issues, but the story is very rich. I know. Cool Cat, you did say that they're predictable, but it's not. It's not really a horror game. I think, and Noof hit the nail on the head. It's more of a puzzle game, more like, you're like ripping apart these like mutant zombie things, and like there's stuff smearing all over the walls, and it's just like the amount of artistry and the amount of attention to detail that it takes. I can only imagine these environmental artists would be having a field day with that. So all I can say is that this game is for people who enjoy RPGs, but also like killing things and blood. So so that's my critique on it. I like watching films that are like that. I'll watch films that are like that, but playing them, I'm terrible at stealth, and I'm not that great at fighting. So guys, don't team up with me if you're if you're gonna do something like that. But yeah, lots of people are gonna love it. They're going to patch it eventually, sooner rather than later, hopefully. But like I said, it still doesn't take away from the fact that this was a full price game and came out unfinished.
Right. Yeah, I could have used a few more months in the oven, but we know how that works.
Yeah. Look, there
Look,
could have been time restraints.
yeah.
There could have been, contracts that are signed. It's like, no, you must get it out now. It must go gold at this date. All that stuff, and that really affects when something comes out, and therefore it affects us as consumers. So.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with a lot of games these days, they get to like the 85, 90 percentile of the game being complete, and you go, "Yeah, it's time to ship it." And we'll whatever is remaining, or whatever is, as long as it's not game breaking completely, then yeah, let's just ship this thing and fix it in the weeks thereafter. So I don't know, it just the amount of games that have bugs, glitches. I think Terry, you brought it up probably on the last show, and I've been running into them. Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
I'm still running into stuff there, like clipping into the environment and getting stuck on stuff and a lot of different things. It's like, wow, why are there still so many glitches? And this is like nearly like 8 months after release or whatever the hell. So it's just like, oh man. But anyway,
I mean, it
it
is
is part of the
PlayStation, but,
yeah, it's part of the industry. It's it's kind of is what it is, but we shouldn't really accept it either. We don't want to make let devs kind of start getting that in their head that, hey, we're okay with this stuff. I mean, technically, I would imagine if you're a reasonable dev, you're not okay with it either. I mean, they're obviously aware of it. Nobody wants something to come out and be glitchy because it ruins people's impression of the game. It can immensely affect sales too in the long haul. But the biggest surprise is Call of Duty, right? Like when you hear about the glitches in this one, you're like, dude, you guys have been making this same franchise for how many decades now?
Yeah.
You've had some of the best
How can
lobby
you get it
systems. How
wrong?
can you mess it up at this point? It's like this should be like you should be doing it in your sleep, right? Like, oh, the lobby's gonna work. Well, I get it. You have a lot of players. You have one of the biggest user bases out there, but still, like you'd think for teams that have been doing the same game, the same franchise, running the same, more or less the same thing, right? It's like the sports games, and sports games come out glitchy. It's like, how can it be glitchy? You guys have been making the same product forever. Right? But anyway, we're on to another topic. Callisto Protocol, look, I'm definitely interested. My interest level is very high. I never had it as a must buy. So for me, it's like nothing really changed for me. The only difference is I was tempted to buy it like on day one, and now I feel a little more reserved. But I'm not so much reserved about the ratings. They've never really bothered me. Some of my favorite games never scored 80%. I mean, I can think of Rise, Son of Rome, always comes up to mind on the Xbox One. Phenomenal game. I would have easily given that game a 9, because that game was so well done. That game was so well done that the game came out in 2013 and still looks better than 90% of the games on any platform today. That's insane. Like, I look at that and I'm going, how did they make that game on the Xbox One? How? It looks incredible. It's just so well done. You see games like Days Gone. And another one that I loved on PlayStation was The Order 1886, which absolutely was an amazing game, but got just trashed. So, some of my favorite games aren't always rated high, so I don't really hold a lot of weight in that. I mean, it's great if I'm interested in a game and I know that it's getting the great scores. It just kind of makes you feel a little bit more like, yeah, I'm going to go from I really enjoyed this game to holy crap, this game was a life changer. But that's about it. At the end of the day, it's all about how it plays and how it makes me feel. I'm a little bit worried about the play control I've heard in Callisto. Something about the dodging mechanics and stuff, and there's nothing
Yeah, the dodge is
more.
really off.
There's nothing like dodging. If dodging is a major part of your game, no different than if stealth is a major part of your game, you have to get those things right. I
think
hate,
the main issue at the issue at the beginning is that you barely have any weapons, so you are literally trying to survive while like basically poking this enemy, especially if you right off the bat you select hard mode. So I think people have come across that issue because of that. They've gone, yeah, I'm going to go the hardest I can, and I don't know what kind of status it gives them, because I don't think it gives them any additional points. I mean, at least not on Xbox. I'm not sure about PlayStation, but yeah, it's a dodge mechanic should be a pretty simple thing to get right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If it's a major part, now I get the whole they want it there. I mean, especially when you spend so much time working on these intense graphics, they want a lot of these creatures and things to be in your face. They want to see it, and make it. That's when it gets intense, right? When they're right up in your grill. But again, the stuff's got to work. So I don't know. Until I play it, I guess I won't know. But do I want to spend my dilemma is, do I want to spend $90 Canadian to figure that out?
Mm.
I know with the From Software games, as I've said before, I know what I like and what I don't like, and I've tried enough of the From Software games to know now that I don't have the patience level to actually play them, and that's the big part. It's not skill, because if you're going to go with skill, look, the same person who's a master at From Software games could play me in Halo, and I could mop the floor with some of these guys. So it's not about skill; it's about your attention to detail, how much you play a genre, right? You got to love it. You got to want to be invested in it. I would break too much stuff playing From Software games, so I don't bother. So why spend the money for me on those games when I know that's just not my bag? And it's not that I hate the games. I've never said a bad word about their games. Their games are phenomenal. People that love them, I can see why. But again, you have to have a certain that masochistic personality has to come out in you. You have to want punishment, because I guess the risk reward thing, right? For me, I'd rather stories. I'd rather blow through games and have a story than have difficulty. I don't win any which way, So for me, I always play all my games on normal mode, because that's where I feel the developers have essentially that's why they're called normal, because that's how the developers intend people to play it. The rest of the stuff is just in there for, again, people that just enjoy the shits and giggles of beating things on its hardest difficulty. And of course, now with achievements and trophies, people just go around constantly trying to find those, like, oh well, I've got to beat it on the toughest difficulty because I need to have this little trophy in my life, because otherwise I'm not validated for playing that game. But I spent 80 hours playing a game that should have took me 25 hours because I just got to beat it on the toughest difficulty. Right? That's not me. I'm sorry. I mean, I applaud those who can, but that's not me. I barely get enough time to play one game. I don't need to play one game for like 120 hours. So, So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I might wait for a price drop on that one. But yeah, ratings never really did sway me, but they do add a little bit of weight, if that makes any sense. I might be a little bit more inclined to run out and pick it up early if the ratings are really good and the buzz is good around it. Speaking of other games that have surprisingly gotten really good ratings, I'm hearing, is Marvel's Midnight Suns. Has anybody dabbled with that yet? Is it worth the buy or not? The one thing that immediately turned me off from this was the card-based feature in the game. As soon as I saw that, I said, I'm 100% out. It's a no buy for me. Anybody?
Nope.
Nobody?
I'm interested because of the rating it got. Like, it's funny you say that ratings don't influence you, but they do me. So if I have zero interest in the game and it gets really high ratings, like 90s, 9 and aboves from everybody, and it has like a meta of, let's just say 90 and above, I get interested because this game that I had zero interest in, a lot of people are saying that it's really good. So I'll start looking more into it and I might pick it up. And Marvel's Midnight Suns, I had zero interest in because it just didn't look good. The advertisements were not very good. It didn't get too much hype, but then it comes out and it's scoring rather high. So now I'm a little interested on it. So yeah, the ratings on it are giving me some interest. I might be picking it up. Not today, because I still got some games to go through. I bought a bunch of Black Friday games I got to get through.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have a backlog. The backlog is growing.
Yeah,
exponentially.
For real.
If you don't have a backlog, either you don't buy anything, don't have any subscriptions, or you just don't play any games. It's one of those three, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, if I could just sit on my couch all day, be fat, and play video games, I'd be happy.
Don't we all wish that when we were kids and we had all the time in the world when we were kids that we had these backlogs? Because back when I owned the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, I didn't really have a backlog, because if I bought a game, it was weeks before I had another one, and I went and just played the shit out of it and beat it. That was it.
Oh, when I was a kid, honestly, I grew up poor, so I could not afford to buy a game. I couldn't even afford to buy a console, so I used to borrow them from the video store and go to my friend's house and play it on their console.
Yeah, I remember renting consoles from the video store.
Yeah.
Oh yes! Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that. We never rented a console, couldn't afford that, but definitely a game.
I would save up my money to I live next to railroad tracks, so I could pick up the iron spikes that were just laying around, and a day of Iron Spikes would get me a rental on my
Oh
video
wow.
games.
Okay.
Because we would take them to the salvage yard that was like 2 blocks down from where I lived. Yeah, I live right next to a junkyard, guys. So,
hey, humble. You know.
well, it
Look
was
where you
like
are
a
now.
steel junkyard though. It wasn't like trash. It was like a metal place. I don't know, whatever. They salvage cars and stuff.
Man, we are really taking a stroll down memory lane today. We've been talking about AOL, floppy disks, and now even renting our consoles from the video game store.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now, Terry might not know any
the
of
dust
this.
is heavy in here today.
We're not up here like preaching to people, being like, yeah, you know, I got given everything. I got every single console that I ever wanted, like all that stuff. Like we worked our butts off to be in this position that we're in now, where we have the luxury of choosing what console we play on and what games we want to play. So, yeah, we're not up here thinking that we're you know, the very best.
No. What was my point? Anyways, yeah. So
Marvel Sons.
Review scores really do influence me. If I'm interested in a game and it gets awful reviews, unless I'm a huge fan of the franchise, I'm not getting it. You know, so like Halo, if Halo got like a 2, I'm still playing that Halo game, right? Review scores don't matter to me on Halo because I'm so invested in the stories. But if a new game comes out, like, I don't know, Marvel Sons, and I was super hyped for it, I was like, yeah, Marvel Sons is coming out, and it ends up getting like a 59 or something, I'm probably going to pass on it because I have no history with it. So it's reviews matter, but it's a bunch of little if this, if that, if, you know?
Reviews matter to people who aren't invested in the game. Like, let's say Hogwarts Legacy comes out and it gets a 50 on Metacritic. Like, I'm still playing that game. Like, it doesn't for me because I'm so invested in the story. It wouldn't matter to me. But whereas something like Marvel Sons, like, yeah, I like superheroes, but you know, like, if I'm gonna try it, it should be good. You know, at least 80 or above.
Yeah. No, they definitely matter, and I'll tell you, and I know that for a fact because here's a game that I was super hyped about, and that was Gotham Knights. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Batman Arkham games, and I still have not went out and bought that game, and it's largely because one, I was very disappointed too that leading up to launch, it seemed to be very lack of footage, and I find usually with games, if they're not over exploiting them prior to launch, it usually is a bad sign. And two, you know, once the people started playing it, you know, and I saw some of the reviews, I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this obviously doesn't seem like it's Batman Arkham City quality here. So I took a pass. I might pick it up down the road, but well, the fact that, you know, you took out the main character I wanted to play as, that was a major no-no right off the bat. I'm sorry, but I wanted to play as Batman. I have very little interest in the rest of those characters.
It was Arkham Knight, not the Arkham Knight.
Yeah, well, he should have been in there. I don't care. He should Batman.
He was in
killed
there.
him off.
He was in there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
he was.
But anyway,
he was dead.
It's so funny you say that
because way on me for that. Because you'd almost think it would have been an automatic buy, being that I was a big fan of the other games. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. When Arkham Knight looks graphically far more impressive than this game, I'm like, what the hell happened here? Like, you know, Arkham Knight looks like it was made on today's consoles, and this game looks like it was built on the last gen of consoles. I don't know.
It's so funny you bring that up because the game I've been playing this week has been Gotham Knights, and I'm loving it.
The fighting is really fun. I found
the fighting is so deep. The combo system is crazy on it. It's definitely not combat like the Arkham series. That's if you're expecting Arkham series combat, you're going to be let down. There is no block button. No block button anymore. It's just light attack, heavy attack, light throw, heavy throw, and dodge. And perfect dodges. But within those, you know, as you unlock abilities and you get special moves and you get elemental attacks, it's more of an RPG style Batman game than they ever have been. And the graphics, I have absolutely no problem with the graphics. I think it looks clean, like really clean.
I don't think they look bad. Don't get me wrong. They don't look like they're on Arkham Knight level detail.
So I got Arkham Knight right before I played this one, just to kind of hype myself up for the next Batman game again, right? And I would say that Gotham Knights is definitely better looking than Arkham Knight. Obviously, it has to be. It's been like 8 years, right? And in the cutscenes, I mean, they went into detail on the cutscenes. You can see the pores on people's faces.
Yeah, the cutscenes.
It's seriously detailed on the cutscenes, but it does have a weird lighting effect, almost like I want to call it like saturated, cell shaded mix type of
I think it's
art
supposed to
style.
look a little bit dreamy, I suppose, because I guess Arkham City's, it has this. I can't put my finger on it, but it has a vibe to it it's mysterious but crazy, but also like cozy at the same time. So, and I think they capture it really well.
Yeah, and then the level design, the Arkham City itself level design is pretty great. You can go into buildings, you can find caves that people are over there doing whatever it is they're doing, bad crimes that I'm going to beat them all up for. The stealth mechanic I feel is more useful. That's my play style, so I'm playing as Robin. I'm going in full stealth and just I don't know. I like mentally torturing people and the AIs. It's pretty funny to me the things they say. And so yeah, I'm going in as Robin, but I'm having a really good time in Arkham. The only thing that not in Arkham, in Gotham. The only thing that I do wish was better is the cycle. I feel that the cycle is slow. That is the only thing I feel, is that the cycle is slow. Outside of that, though, I'm having a really, really good time playing Gotham Knights. I'm glad I got it. Now, maybe I'm not glad I paid the price for it because I got the super duper collector's edition, as I always do with the Batman games, right? Huh?
You got all the outfits.
Yeah, I got all the outfits. I have the statue. I have the LED book. I have a short on YouTube of everything that came with it.
That's right.
But then when Black Friday comes around and you see the game drop to $35, half off,
I've got Nightwing, Banana Hammock Edition.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the hell, man? I paid so much money for this, but it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. So in 20 to 40 years, this is going to be worth something.
Okay.
How about you, Terry? Midnight Suns, is that something you're even interested in? And and obviously it's getting really good reviews.
I don't know. I might rent it just to try it out. I don't like card-based games at all, and I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I'm more of a DC fan. So I mean, I might try it out just to try it out, but it's not something that's like a top priority for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Batman's just a better hero than anything Marvel has. Just saying.
Totally not biased whatsoever. Although Iron Man can get it.
I love that, Axel. Just to bring the mug up slowly. That was great.
Iron Man versus Batman. I feel, both rich entrepreneur men, I love to see that fight.
One has mastered his skill fighting and the other one lets his AI robot fight for him that he wears. So yeah, there you go.
He still controls it and he designed it. So
yeah,
his
he
heart
did design
literally
it pretty good.
powered it. So
I'm with Terry, and I had no idea this game even had a card-based system in it until I saw the videos, and then I went,
yeah,
well, there you go. That's
doesn't
buy
market like
for me.
that, does it? At all. Like if you didn't get into it, you wouldn't know that it's a turn-taking card game.
Yeah.
I love playing card games. I don't know. I might look into it. Like when I was younger, I was really into Pokemon, like Pokemon card games.
It's like these games, like Horizon Forbidden West, right? You're playing it, and now they got that stupid game inside the game where you sit down and you play this like weird version of chess. I'm like, why is that stuff even in the game? Like, I couldn't be bothered. You know what I mean?
No way.
Like, oh my lord.
The Witcher started that.
The Witcher started that crap, and now everybody's starting to do that, like a little game within a game.
You can play Spy Hunter in Batman, and our little arcade machine of Spy Hunter in Gotham Knights. The Witcher did pretty good, though. They invented that game Gwent. That was pretty cool.
Gwent, yeah.
That's a tricky game.
Yeah.
Wasn't there also that game where it was like, I don't know if it was a game, but all the women you slept with, you got like a card, and, like had their picture on it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Say that again.
I don't know. I think it was The Witcher. You got a card for all the women you slept with, and like it was like a collection.
and you could use
it
them
was
in
like
your
all
deck.
It was like a collectible. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Did you
it's
say
so
you
funny.
got a
You could
card
go
for all
around
the
the world
women you
doing stuff,
slept with?
collect extra Gwent cards, and use them in the game.
Yeah. No, wait. Are you telling me you haven't played Witcher?
I have played The Witcher, but that's not ringing a bell with me. You get a
You
card
might
for all
have
the
to look
women
that
you
up.
slept with. Hot damn.
Did you not sleep with anyone?
No, I haven't gotten that far, apparently.
Dude, you played the Witcher wrong.
I'm doing something wrong. Well, that's even like my last playthrough of Mass Effect. For some reason, I had trouble getting any romantic interest going in that game at all. What the heck's going on? I'm hitting the wrong dialogue buttons. They're all turning me down.
So funny.
Man, you can't even get some from one of the ugly alien people in that game, then there's something definitely wrong.
Oh gosh.
It's not you, Noof. It's them.
It's that Noof Nukem guy. He's freaking weird. Stay clear. Oh, crap.
That's so funny.
Thank God for video games. For some of us, that's the only way we'll ever be a sexy avatar.
Yes. I know the feeling.
Oh, man. Hey, we got 108 Dragons TV in the building. What's going on, Brother Dragon? Good to see you here, Lemon. Dreadpool's hanging out with us this morning. Good to see you here, Dread. As always, Jago Kukin up in the house. What's going on? We got Badger1 here. Jason Max hanging out. Cyber Gunter's in the building. The list goes on here, man. We got some great people in the chat this morning. Good to see you all. Dead Proof is here. What's happening, Dead Proof? And Dragonheart Yomi, Mr. Kima, and Sean. Sean, what's going on, Sean? It's been a while. Good to see you here as well. And the list goes on, guys. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to us. All right. Shall we move past this topic? I mean, it's kind of mute at this point. I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, if you do buy it, you'll all enjoy it. That's the main thing. You know, buy what you like or like what you play what you like, whatever it is. But just, hopefully you enjoy it. You know, make up your own decisions at the end of the day, you know. And that's, again, that's a big reason why I still prefer my physical, because at the end of the day, I'm never stuck with it. I could sell it or I could trade it. That's why it's not as big a gamble for me as someone that goes out and dishes it out on other services, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of like stuck with it. Now, I mean, I guess you can go through some refund policies and different things too, but I don't know. I don't prefer that hassle. It just, I'll bring it back. I gotta say, for all the flack that GameStop often takes, they do have a pretty good policy there now, where if you buy a new game and you return it within, I think they give you like 10 days or something like that, you basically get like 90% of your money back, which is not bad. So that's not too bad. Not mad I don't game share. Got no one to share it with anyway. So, but I just do my thing, man. It's all good. Jacob Novik, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. All right, but let's, Terry, if you are ready, we are at the halfway part of the show, and as always, it's Cool Cat Terri and the Indie Spotlight. I should have given you some advance warning, but whenever you're ready.
That's all good. All right, guys. So this week I picked out something. For those of you who are fans of Elder Scrolls, particularly Skyrim, and if you were someone who maybe plays it a lot on PC and was, did all the mods and stuff, you may be familiar where this game kind of got its inspiration from. So before I go into any more detail, let me go ahead and just play the trailer for you all, and then I'll talk about it. So.
Salve, friend.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life.
If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. Somebody in this city is about to break the golden rule.
Sooner or later, things are going to end badly for all of us down here.
Some people say it's the creation of an all-seeing God who's watching everything we do.
Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or This unknown god, doesn't he? But did you ever get the feeling some of these statues are watching us?
Are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the golden rule?
How is it that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them? Salve, friend. I'm Galerius.
Okay.
I'll tell you
God
this.
damn.
I hate the fact that my survival depends on the common sense of other people. Then you know what I'm talking about.
I've been through a pandemic.
Game ends with Antonio Banderas.
All right, so there you go. So yeah, as I was saying, if you guys are familiar, if you're familiar with Skyrim and the mods and stuff, there was a mod that did have a lot of reference to the Forgotten City, and so these developers here, they got inspired by that and they wanted to expand on that more. So they made a full-fledged game, and it's got talk about ratings. So if you care about ratings, it's getting a lot of positive feedback from players and who are enjoying it. So you can go ahead and you can check that out. You are pretty much you're an individual who has gotten sent back in time 2,000 years in the past in Roman times, and you're stuck in a time loop. That's why they kept having that. Gavarius keeps saying, because you're in a time loop. So as you're going through, you're trying to basically stop this curse from happening, and you're going to have to keep making a lot of very difficult moral choices to get through it. And there's also multiple endings as well. So lots of ways to just kind of see what happens. And the game is $30 on Xbox. It's a bit steep, so you may want to wait for a sale. Otherwise, it's $25 over on Steam. I doing some quick research. I couldn't find if it's on any other platforms, but it is for sure on PC and Xbox. So go ahead and look into it if this is kind of more your thing.
There you go. Well, another gem. Look pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I always vibe with Grecian style things. So so any game that's in that universe, I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, it definitely looked pretty neat. It has, you're definitely getting hints of a lot of different styles of games in the one game, and not sure about the voice acting part of it, but everything else seemed like it was pretty solid. It's like those paste into lines kind of deliveries. Like, here you go, just read this off. Okay, you must come with me through the great dungeon halls. Yeah.
Oh no! Someone hire this guy already. Just goodness.
Voice
me.
acting.
Yeah, definitely. No one wants an Australian accent.
What are you doing with this podcast of incredible people?
That's right.
Great stuff. Another great indie spotlight. All right, let's move the needle, shall we, and keep it moving here this morning. Real quick, I don't want to take up too much time, but obviously, we kind of started the show and we were talking about this to a little extent. I guess the other question now remains, right? Obviously, Microsoft, the Activision Blizzard deal, sort of like I said, still has a lot of question marks, still going through a lot of scrutiny. Both sides kind of going back and forth. Sony interjecting, trying to do what they can to block the deal. We all know why Sony is so adamant about Microsoft not having this go through. But at the end of the day, if it should fall through, what do you guys feel would be Microsoft's next logical step? What do you think they may do? This is just one of those fun speculation kind of parts of the show where we have no idea. But if it does fall through, does it really hurt them? Is it kind of business as usual? They still lose money either way. I would imagine the longer this drags on, everybody's kind of losing something. And we'll start with Cool Cat Terri. What do you think happens if this falls through? Do you think Microsoft just pursues other studios, publishers, or what?
I don't know. I feel like if something like this fell through, they probably would kind of back off for a while because they wouldn't be able to immediately go and try to buy something else because the eyes have been on them telling them, no, you can't buy this, because of all these reasons about you being a monopoly and all this other crap. So they're not going to be able to just be, well, if I can't buy this, I'll go buy this. People are still going to be, looking at them. So I feel like they're not going to, they're probably just going to back off and, probably have numerous meetings on what their next plan is going to be. And then we'll have to wait and see what they do next. But, maybe, they can, since they've already been having this working relationship with like Todd Howard, and everybody else, that maybe they could work something out to where they could maybe buy some IPs or something. If they can't buy all of Activision Blizzard, maybe they can just find different IPs within there that maybe they would be willing to part with, kind of like how Square did it with them parting out some of their stuff. So maybe Activision Blizzard would be willing to just part it out, and so that way Microsoft can still have some stuff. Who knows? I don't know what their next step would be, because that would be one of those kind of like devastating things where, what do you do next? Because like the whole world, like their eyes have been on you, and people, scrutinizing about whether or not it is right for you to do this purchase. So like you really can't do any other purchases for a good while until all that kind of dies down.
There you go. Axel.
Yeah. Get the lawyers. I think they should fight it. I don't think that the federal agencies have to prove their case, and right now their cases are foreclosure based. Nothing that Xbox is doing is going to lead to foreclosure of competition, in my opinion, at any level. If they get a hold of Activision Blizzard. Especially because they said that they're going to keep Call of Duty multi-plat. I'm going to guess that, Diablo is going to stay multi-plat. I don't know. StarCraft is going to stay on PC. World of Warcraft might come to consoles, so that's good.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
I know,
I
right?
can't imagine my spell rotation on a controller.
It's going to be the special edition Warcraft controller that's basically a keyboard. So
yes, I'll just have to plug my keyboard into the Xbox, which you can do.
Like pretty much Call of Duty is like the only thing that has been like stirring the pot. So like I feel like if Call of Duty is like the end all be all, just not buy the rights to Call of Duty and just buy everything else. Just leave that part out.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Bobby, as I've always said, if I'm an owner of Activision stock, which I am, and I don't get my share of $69 billion, I'm going to be pretty upset at PlayStation for basically crying. But as I said, these regulators, we say PlayStation this, PlayStation that, because it basically parrots PlayStation, but in truth, it's the regulators. They don't have enough of a case, I think, to prove foreclosure in a court setting. So I think they're playing hardball now to try to get the plea deal out of Microsoft, to try to get those concessions and be like, look what we did. We got some concessions out of Microsoft. Because if I'm Microsoft and I gave into your concessions and you still, I give you some concessions and you still don't approve my deal and we go to court, I'm going to court with no concessions at all. Like I'm going for the full win. All that stuff, just because I'm petty like that. But I'm not. I don't run Microsoft. I'm just a single guy that's petty about it. If somebody cost me my share of $69 billion.
Well, see, here's the difference. If I think if this was Sony, they were doing the same thing. That's the thing. I don't think there'd be any talk about even putting Call of Duty on Xbox. Period. I think they would keep everything away from the Xbox because they would want to destroy competition,
which they always have. Right. That's always been their game. I don't understand why this is running into so many hurdles in Europe and in the UK where PlayStation is dominant.
That's why it is, because it's dominant over there, and there's a lot of people in the back pocket of Sony. They're afraid that Sony might lose that number one dominant position in countries where they've normally, kind of held the market share. They're scared to death of it.
Yeah, but that's my whole point. As a regulator, you're over here saying about competition, healthy competition, and we're trying to protect the consumer. And when you're over there, when you have someone that is dominant in your market, you want to introduce competition. And if Xbox can do it, why not?
Yeah, Xbox should be just like, well, I'm pretty sure they are, but they're just like, hey, look at all these MPDs, look at all these massive discrepancies in console sales and stuff. Look at the discrepancy in games sold in these popular places of the world. It's on their consoles. You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't that be episode enough to say, okay, yeah, Microsoft, you really are like trailing in this thing,
Yeah, I think I saw someone that said if you combine all of Xbox's revenue with all of Activision Blizzard's revenue, they still wouldn't be close to Sony.
Yeah.
So the merger is not really going to cause a foreclosure because even combined revenues isn't enough to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I see it. So yeah, get the lawyers. That's the way I would go. Finish this through, see it through. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to fight a future that they don't even know how it's going to pan out. They just assume it's going to be a certain way, and then they're trying to prevent a future that doesn't even exist. Essentially,
yeah,
it's kind of like the Terminator here. If you kill the baby before it's born, Skynet will never happen.
That's right.
Doom Cutie, you may have some different insight on this, perhaps, or do you even care?
We've spoken about the ABK deal over on Xbox Infinite quite a lot. And, Phil Spencer said so many times they don't want to take Call of Duty off Sony. And the example of them in the past, obviously, they go by the motto, gaming's for everyone should game. And Minecraft has never been an Xbox exclusive, even though it has worked very, very closely within Xbox Game Studios. So I don't think the next step is, we're going to take Call of Duty off PlayStation. We're going to take Call of Duty off of Steam, and we're just going to have it on PC Game Pass. Right. Although I do have a feeling that Call of Duty may be a part of Game Pass. And I think that
it would.
Yeah. So that moving forward would be a positive thing. So anyone considering being acquired by Xbox, by Microsoft, may be folded into the Game Pass, therefore, getting more players, all that kind of thing. Outside of that, I do think that they will move into concentrating a lot more on PC Game Pass. PC is a exponentially expanding platform, whereas consoles it grows, but it tapers off after a certain amount of time, and they have to bring out a new console. So yeah, I do think that they'll expand PC Game Pass a lot more in the future.
Yeah, I have to agree that, because when I think Activision Blizzard, I think, especially Blizzard, I think PC. A lot of their Blizzard games don't translate to console very well. StarCraft comes to mind, and Warcraft comes to mind.
Yeah, StarCraft's massive.
Yeah. And even though Blizzard has stopped supporting StarCraft, it's still really fun. And they still hold tournaments. It's still the best RTS in the world, as niche as that is. Right? So I think they got Activision Blizzard for mobile because, Activision Blizzard has their fingers in everybody's tea, Yeah. They got mobile, they got console, and they got PC, and it just meets all three of those, and that's where Xbox wants to go to.
Well, it's not hard to see why this deal makes a ton of sense, certainly for Xbox and growing Game Pass. I mean, they've obviously invested in that service, and they got to go all in, right? You go all in or you don't bother. We see that sometimes. And I think they've largely committed to that. Satya's been behind Phil and his vision, and the numbers are growing. Is it as fast as they'd like? That's not for me to say, but it is growing. It will continue to grow, and I suspect that after this year or next year, I guess 2023, those numbers are going to skyrocket if Microsoft and their studios start dropping some games. We can't deny that this has been a little bit of a dry year, and when you're touting the whole, Game Pass day and date kind of deal, and you really have nothing from your internal team to show for it, that's sort of a bit of a blowback. Nobody expected this past year to be as quiet. Especially after a pretty strong finish to 2021, where they had Flight Sim, they had Psychonauts 2, and they had a bunch of different games going in there. This is your year to make or break things, I guess. But if the deal does get kiboshed, honestly, and I just look at it from how I would feel, right? If I was putting myself in their shoes, if it gets kiboshed, and it's largely due to Sony's meddling and their influence in those markets where they have that sort of dominance, I would go gloves off. I really would. I'd be like, at this point, I don't need to play Mr. Nice Guy anymore, because it'd be like, you know what, you guys are trying to dictate to where we take our business because you're afraid to compete, because you're afraid to build better products. Instead, you want to build it on the back of gypping your customers by charging them more for everything, overpricing everything. I mean, the fact that the matter is, I'm sorry, but Sony's out to lunch, right? Because I mean, look at the PSVR 2, for example. You have to buy the PlayStation 5 to get it, and look at the price of it as a standalone. It's egregious, right? It's like
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's like, are you guys out to lunch? Like, first of all, you struggled to sell the PSVR. Okay, that struggled. That thing wasn't a runaway success, largely again because of the entry price. They never did really drop it down a whole lot. It's like, I feel like it's almost that cocky attitude, because we're number one, we're going to do and charge what we want. Because our fans will just eat it up. I feel that's a little bit in there, and perhaps they will, but just like I always say, just because you could doesn't mean you should. That's my motto in anything in life. It's like a bully on the playground. Just because you're big and strong enough to beat up 90% of the kids in your class, does that mean you should do that? No. Sometimes you just got to side for better judgment. But look, I would gloves off, and I'd say, well, you know what? If you're going to play hardball, we're going to play hardball. And I would, I'd maybe take a little bit of time and not rush out right away. But I would start talking to other studios, maybe that aren't, the transactions won't be as glaring. Because outside of Call of Duty, nobody really gives a shit about this Activision deal. This is the only thing that comes up constantly. And we know why it does, because it isn't the game itself, right? The game itself, it is what it is. But it's because of the marketing that comes with it. Because Sony needs to have that Call of Duty plastered on their boxes. They want their commercials to have Call of Duty in it. PlayStation sell largely more for Call of Duty and the Fortnites than they ever do for God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Mans. That's the bottom line. You can go take a look at it, right? That's what they sell. And they're afraid to lose that marketing strength. People will know that Call of Duty is on PlayStation, but it'll be kind of like the whole Xbox effect. You know how you can see a lot of these games now that come out on Xbox, but because Sony has the marketing rights, the average fan, not us, the average fan just doesn't even think it exists. Like right now, there's people that probably don't even know the Callisto Protocol is out on Xbox. They go, well, that's a Sony game. It's on PlayStation, right? So hand in hand, right? It's that if you got the marketing rights, people associate you with those games. And then in turn, it sells more consoles. We know that Microsoft's given up really counting the consoles. That's not where their head is at. They care that they sell consoles because that means more subscribers. But at the end of the day, if they're going to be on TVs and they're going to be on PC and they're going to be on the Xbox and they're going to be on a phone, they're giving you plenty of options. They're expanding the market. There's no question about it. No matter you like it or you don't like it, that's where they decided to play. They're not playing ball in one stadium anymore. They're playing ball in everybody's stadium. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sony wants to do things very traditional, and they know the market is changing. They're reluctant to go into it because that's what has done them really well. So I think, if this falls through, you start to play dirty. Gloves come off a little bit. And I'm even going as far as, if you have to, you pull Minecraft off of their consoles and see where that hits them. Because Minecraft is huge on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. But it's
the
huge.
most played game.
Right? You say, well, if that's how you want to play ball, then we can play ball like that too. We own that shit now. That's ours. Do what you got to do. This is what I say.
That would take a lot. I
don't see that happening. I don't see that.
No, that would never happen
because it's too much money. That's like giving up a cash cow, and that's the same. And that should be more evident for keeping why this deal is not so bad, because Why would you want to keep Call of Duty off of PlayStation when you know it's going to make you serious bank? And really, the only downside if you're a PlayStation fan is that if you don't want to get into the Xbox ecosystem, plus they're giving you how many opportunities to do so, you have to pay full price for the game. Where the Xbox crowd will most likely get it through Game Pass. That's really your only, and apparently most PlayStation people never had trouble paying $70, $80 for games. That's what we hear over on the social media spaces. So why is it going to bother you to pay it for Call of Duty?
It's so awful. Like some people, some of the, the ponies, but we're Xbox, right? We're Xbox and they're ponies and PC Master Race. I don't know what Nintendo people are called.
Nintendrones.
Really?
Yeah, that's a great name, Nintendrone.
Nintendrone.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they're like, oh well, people who play Xbox are poor. And people who play PlayStation earn more. And I was like, wait, what? Have you seen how many controllers I have?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, that itself becomes another argument. Well, that's
so funny because
making controllers, but not games.
Right. I'm fairly upper middle management where I work at, so now I get to hang out with the big CEOs and executives at my company a little bit. And I'll tell you what, those guys, they're multi millionaires. And it's so, oh, you must be poor, Those guys are some of the cheapest people I've ever met in my life.
That's the reason why they're rich. They're savvy.
Yeah, like I'm just like, it's so funny because like, oh, it's because you're poor. And then I stop to think about the multimillionaires that I know, at my company. And I'm just like, they wouldn't spend the money I spend on literally anything I spend it on.
Yeah.
They are way more savvy. Like they're wearing the same suits they wore back in 1980 because it's still good. It's really interesting. Just saying. So if I'm poor because I'm on Game Pass, I'll stay poor.
Oh, look at the end at the end of the day, like honestly, every single Xbox centric podcast I have been on, everyone always praises Xbox Game Pass because we half the games we have played we would not have played if it wasn't for Xbox Game Pass. So it's and there have been so many lovely stories that have been told in these little games from these tiny studios that Xbox gave a chance to. So I really can only applaud Microsoft, to be honest.
I mean, it's hard to argue with value, no matter what. In a day when there's more games than ever, and you're absolutely right, when exposure is tough to come by unless you have big marketing budgets. Game Pass is like a license to self-advertise. It's low risk, high reward. And sometimes maybe it doesn't pay off. Maybe sometimes it's the opposite effect. Just like demos back in the day, you played a shitty demo that you didn't like, and that killed your sale of the game. But you know what? It's still there. It's still there. It's great value. We'll let Terri jump in here. She's been awful quiet. I don't know if she's very reserved or she just doesn't have much to say on the whole topic. She did have a chance, but any further thoughts on this, Terri?
Not really. Like honestly, I've already shared my point of view on Twitter. I'm burnt out on the topic. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for a result, whether it happens or doesn't happen. Like I'm just tired of speculation. This has been going on for over a year. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Well, amen to that. And I didn't really want to bring it up too much because we haven't normally talked about this a whole lot on this show. But again, I don't think taking things like Minecraft and stuff off your competitor would be a smart move regardless, because it just you don't want to be a complete douche, but I definitely think they can be aggressive in other ways, and that means
Xbox won't do it though.
No,
Xbox won't do it. They've been all about playing nice, and and every time Sony does something underhanded, Phil Spencer just sits there with a smile, and he continues to play nice and continues to try to, give more and concede more to show them how sincere he is about, how he wants everybody to take part in this. It's just the way he's doing it, so they're going to continue to play nice. We all want him to play dirty, but he's not going to do it. He's going to continue to be the nice guy.
Yeah. I feel that Phil Spencer doesn't need to play dirty. He just you
Don't
know,
have to play dirty. Swing around the money, man. That's it. You don't have to play dirty. Swing around the money.
You know, he's like that. It's like listening to someone yell at you that's smaller than you, like children. You know, they're over there playing dirty, trying to be throw tantrums and that, and you as the adult are just letting them go through it, and you're just but we all know who really has the power here,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way I feel that Phil is. He's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do this, we'll go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, we definitely want to bring more games to more places, to more gamers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, that's okay. We'll put an Xbox inside every Samsung television. That's okay, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Yeah. There you go. I was gonna say that there's other ways to play this game. There's other ways to do it, and I think one of the solutions is staring them right in the face. It's internal studios. They just need all these acquisitions they currently have to really start showing the fruits of their labor for games to come out and be, start finally being part of that game of the year conversation to really, okay, well, Xbox got lots of games now that, they're, that are well made and really good games that people want to play. Like, you already have the stable. You still have Halo Infinite. It's too bad that Halo had such a misstep, I guess, with Infinite, because it should have been their flagship juggernaut, which didn't really turn out that way. I mean, it's still a big game, don't get me wrong, but I think it was largely because, again, the delays, a lot of mishandling, stuff like that, and it is where it is. But that's what I said before when people said Halo Infinite. I say move on from it. I say finish what you got to do with Infinite and kill it. Move on and make the next Halo, but make it bigger and better. That's my thought.
I think Forge will bide them some time before they begin their next project. Not sure on the timeline, obviously, but yeah, I think the stuff with Halo Infinite has been quite disappointing, especially for lots of us that have played it and understand that Halo is the heart of Xbox, really. I'm pretty sure it's like engraved. There's something engraved on the inside of the chips inside Xboxes. So it legitimately so it legitimately is in the heart of every Xbox.
Yeah.
So I hope that they can get their stuff together. But only time will tell.
Well, they've got so many great studios that build amazing first-person shooters. I mean, maybe somebody stumbles onto the next Call of Duty. Maybe they build something. You don't always have to buy an
Halo
IP,
is very different to Call of Duty. We know that.
Totally. Yeah.
Me and my friends were playing Halo Infinite online co-op, and we put it on Legendary, and
Could you even walk?
It's really funny because with 4 players on Legendary, it was like easy. It was easier than easy mode on Halo.
There you go.
With 4 players, the AI doesn't know what to do sometimes. Like, we trapped this grunt, and he didn't know who to run away from, so he just kind of stood there looking until one of us shot him. It's just really fun. I don't know, Halo Infinite.
Yeah, the multiplayer is quite fun. If you haven't gone into the campaign on Halo Infinite, even if you don't want to play, it's mainly the online that's been a main issue.
The campaign is fantastic.
It's a great story. Yeah, especially with friends.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for Firefight to come to Halo Infinite. That's my mode. PvP is not really my bag on anything. I'm just waiting for Firefight.
Anybody wants to play the Halo campaign co-op? I'm waiting. Just let me know. I will play it with anybody. I don't care if you're good at shooters, you crap at shooters. I just want to play it with somebody and have some fun. I think it'd be great. So, took a long time coming, but I'm glad it's here.
Yeah.
It's
a good campaign.
And this is what I'm going to say, and this is a big feather in their cap. It doesn't get enough credit, but the one thing that Xbox has done really well that most people just don't even stop to realize is the diversity in their lineup. No other company has it like Xbox, because they pretty much got platformers, shooters, racers, flight sims, RPGs. Like, say what you like, but Sony's top games are simply all the same mold. They really are. Most of their top games look and play nearly identical. They kind of have that same. Yes, they're all very
action
different.
adventure. That's all they care about.
They use the same formula. Okay, at the end of the day, you got to call a spade a spade. It is the same formula, right? They and they're afraid to stray from it. Like outside of Ratchet and Clank, like what are they doing that seems vaguely different? You know what I mean? Where's their Sea of Thieves? Where is even Gran Turismo? They didn't make a spin-off game or anything like Xbox did with Forza Horizon. They just keep the same old Gran Turismo. And I'm sorry, but Gran Turismo, in my personal opinion, doesn't even hold a candle to Forza. It doesn't look as good as Forza. I've played them both. I've owned them both. I'm not blowing smoke up people's ass here. Like it's the truth. Like Gran Turismo was good and still is good, but they didn't take the next step. Forza has, and by God, I can't wait for the next one to drop. My God, it should be just after Turn 10's how many years now? The next one should be eye melting. Like it should just be like, whoa.
It's 6 years between Forza games, yeah.
Like, dude, yeah, Forza 7 seems like it was an eternity ago. But my God, But people are digress. I'll take heat for it. That's fine. I'm just calling it a spade a spade. If you like what you like, but like, I mean, I grew up on this is saying something. I grew up on Gran Turismo. It was the racer for me. And I didn't even like the Forza games up until about like Forza 3, 4. It started to go, okay, these guys are on to something. They keep building a bigger, better game. And eventually it started to surpass. It was like, again, that where you get complacent, right? I'm the top, I'm the leader, our games are the best. And they don't do anything. They copy and paste their whole formula into the freaking racing game. I mean, if you look at Gran Turismo 7, it really isn't much different than Gran Turismo Sport. It almost looks like a carbon copy and paste. Like seriously, go and play them both. They're not. I'm not that far off of that assessment. Anybody in the chat feels the need to argue that, go for it. But this is what I'm just saying. It's that typical Sony mentality. If it works, just copy and paste. Copy and paste.
I've been in a few spaces on Twitter, and I don't mind talking to people who are PlayStation centric. It really doesn't bother me because I own both consoles and I've enjoyed games on both consoles. Same. And I just feel, and I have spoken to a few people about this, that PlayStation have created games that are very one player, whereas Xbox they managed to create games that you can play by yourself, but you can play with your friends too, and it's like almost just cool, like so cool, so whimsical. Like, what can we do next? What can we do better all the time? And that it's that I guess it's that like go getter attitude, and you can really see that. And you know what? They haven't given up on Halo. They've screwed up. We know this.
Yeah.
Xbots can admit that, but you know what? They're not giving up. They're not just like, oh well, that's that.
Absolutely,
like they won't give up on it. So it's yeah, I think it's a credit to the community and a credit to the.
Not every Mario or Sonic game has come out and been amazing, but yet the studios didn't give up on them either, right?
That's true.
So that's just, I mean, you got a great franchise that resonates with gamers. So you got to keep at it. You're going to have some hits. You're going to have some misses. I mean, the Halo franchise itself is largely subjective. You got people that still say that Halo 3 is the best. Some people say Halo 4. Some people say that Halo 5 was vaguely underrated. I loved Halo 5, except it should have had a little more Master Chief. But outside of that, I mean, I thought Halo 5 was very, very well done. And Jacob Novak in the chat, he basically almost proves my point because he's talking about Sony racers. Remember a little gem they had called MotorStorm? People that I talk to love MotorStorm. I love MotorStorm.
Sorry, Forza just like deleted everything else and just that's that now.
MotorStorm essentially was Sony's version of essentially Forza Horizon in a way. It was that sort of racer, a little bit of a bit of realism, a little bit of arcadey, but really, really damn cool. And anybody that's, remembers PlayStation 3, remembers the launch and how cool MotorStorm looked. And then it had a few sequels that were, seemed to be successful. But again, I don't know. It's like somewhere along the line, be like, oh, I guess it didn't sell 20 million copies, so we just kiboshed the damn thing. Like, where are those games? Where's SOCOM? Where is any of this stuff, Yeah, it's coming, but it just seems like they just avoid of just want to kill franchises that don't come out and light a fire right under people's asses right away. Like one of the ones on Xbox that a lot of people hope to get a sequel to, I think Terry, you're on this one, is ReCore. I've heard a lot of people say that ReCore deserves a sequel, and I think rightfully so. It was a great game, laid a great foundation, should have a sequel. Maybe will we see one? Maybe not.
Yeah, I loved it. Definitely underrated.
Great character, cool world, some really neat mechanics in there. A little bit of platforming and shooting, and the whole 9 yards. Right? I thought that game was really well done, actually. So, anyway, we'll kind of get off on a bit of a tangent. And like I said, I'm not here just like a lot of us, like you said, Jim, you own multiple consoles. Most of us do. I've spent the last few weeks playing PlayStation way more than my Xbox. Okay, just it is what it is. So I would like to see more originality from them, and like I said, and hopefully, like I said, this whole merger deal thing it gets done sooner than later, because it is becoming a sore topic, so to speak, for a lot of people. It's kind of way too overdone, and it'll probably be the last time we talk about it in this show. But anyway, let's talk about something fun. Let's switch over to a game that we know is coming. It's being built by obviously Bethesda Machine Games. We just saw the movie trailer. It's launched after quite a long time. It comes out next May. I'm talking about the new Indiana Jones film, and the game is coming shortly thereafter, at least we hope. Have anybody watched the trailer for new Indiana Jones? Do you still get excited about seeing the ancient Indiana Jones, Mr. Harrison Ford himself, reprising the role for what is going to be his last time? And how do you feel about the game? What do you hope from it? It sounds like it's getting close. Todd Howard says it's going to be something special, a love letter to the franchise movie fans. What are we expecting? I mean, it is Machine Games, who gained notoriety for building the Wolfenstein franchise over the last few years. They're doing a phenomenal job. We definitely know they know how to do graphics, and they know how to do gameplay very, very well. So what do you hope for the game? And let's start out with Terry, because she hasn't chimed in a whole lot today, because maybe the topics just haven't been up her alley. But Terry, how about you? Where's your love for Indiana Jones?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Indiana Jones, but I'm not.
It's a great day. It's a great day.
It's just especially
She's ready, guys. She's ready. She's looking to fight.
Oh my gosh, the last movie that he did wasn't the last movie he did that really terrible Crystal Skull one? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Indiana Jones, like, it had its heyday in the 80s, and it just kind of fell flat on its face. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it had its peak, and it's not there anymore. And especially with movies nowadays, movies today are just crap in general. It just, I don't know. We don't really get good, solid movies. I haven't been like driven to go see a movie in a theater in a very long time. It's just movies aren't what they used to be. It's now all they care about is crappy writing and a lot of special effects and explosions, and they think they got a hit. And it's like, and people have been blinded by that. They just want a lot of action scenes. And the storylines in a lot of these movies are absolutely terrible and riddled with plot holes. But we got some flashy, special effects, explosions over here. So this movie's amazing. Look at Marvel, for example. All they have are special effects and terrible storyline. But whatever. So it's I don't know, man. Like I don't get hyped for movies anymore. It's just, I don't know. And like I said, Indiana Jones just isn't. Who cares? It's not the 80s, like no one cares. I don't know, like you're going to get like the older generation, like my generation and older, that care about Indiana Jones, but you're not going to find anybody from the younger generation who's going to get 2 Fs about Indiana Jones. They're going to be like, they don't even know who the heck he is. So I don't know, man. It's I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any really thing to say about it.
Man, I have tossed straight shit in the way of Terry this morning. New topic approval from Terry before we start the show. Yes, Indiana Jones, guys, and the Dial of Destiny is the new trailer. I thought it looked pretty phenomenal myself. What did you think, Axel? And does the game get you excited? I mean, a lot of people now think that Uncharted and Tomb Raider are the original adventures, but what a lot of people don't know is those games largely drew inspiration from obviously the Indiana Jones films.
I'm sorry, who?
Not you too.
Here's the thing. I've never found Indiana Jones that interesting.
Oh my god. Is that guy from Fortnite?
I never wanted Pitfall the game, the movie. Okay.
Oh my god! Sorry, Axel. Sorry. That's hilarious.
It's funny because I love Star Wars, and Star Wars is an older film than Indiana Jones is. So I can't say that, Indiana Jones came out when I was too young to care, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. The truth is, I saw Indiana Jones as an adult, and I just don't care. Right. The fact that his adventures, his archaeological adventures, they're fun, they're campy, they're far-reaching, into that magic stuff. And it's so funny because Indiana Jones, like, all these magical artifacts he gets all the time, and then people draw the line at, aliens in the crystal skull. It's so funny to me, because every movie ends up with everything that Indiana Jones wanted to stop actually happening. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, they open, what is it, the Pandora's box or whatever it is. Everybody dies. Exactly what he tried to stop them from doing. And the crystal skull, he tries to stop them from getting the crystal skull artifact to do whatever it is it does, and guess what? They do it anyway. It's like, so Indiana Jones is the hero that struggles to make the bad guys still do what they were going to do. So, I don't know. I think the character is fantastic. I think the music is epic, like really epic. I love the old World War II style setting that they have. But the stories fall flat on me. Like, I'm sorry, they just do. Now, with that being said, yes, I am interested in playing the video game. Yeah, I am still interested in the movie.
That's right, Louise. You better take a hard look at the man you married over here, blasphemer.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, my wife is there. What? Indiana Jones is a cool movie. Well, sure, they're fine. They're fine. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to go see the movie in the theaters. Probably not, just because I subscribe to everything. I'll just wait. So, but the game, I'm looking forward to trying it and figuring it out. Like, I bought Indiana Jones, Lego Indiana Jones, thinking it was going to be awesome because it's a Lego game. I put that game down after 10 minutes and have never played it again.
Oh, really?
It is buyer's remorse on Indiana Jones, Lego Indiana Jones.
I'm right there with you. I didn't like the Indiana Jones Lego game either. It was boring.
Yeah, and the whip control is awful.
The whip.
Oh, I don't know.
You're a Lego character. Actually.
It's funny though too, because he has a whip.
Aim my Lego whip.
Like
the whip. Complained about the lightsaber control on their Star Wars Lego character in the game. Jeez.
It's funny because he's like you see Indiana Jones as this very masculine man, but yet he uses a whip, which is one of the most demasculating weapons out there, because usually when you see any character with a whip, it's a woman.
That's right. If anybody's going to be the dominatrix, it's going to be Terri.
I mean, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know what state or whip cracking is, masculine. Although I will say I've never thought of Indiana Jones as masculine. Like, I've never seen him as a figure of masculinity. Yeah. I think he's, I don't know, he's got a boyish charm about him, similar to Spider-Man, where it's just he likes seeking out adventure. He likes just being open to anything, open for any adventure, and he's smart. And I don't know, I mean, some of those older ones in the 80s, he was in the suit, it was teaching and lecturing. That's I don't know, Terri, have you seen this? Have you?
I don't know. I've never had a thing for him. I don't know. Harrison Ford in general. I've never really had it. No, I don't. There's no appeal at all.
I'm sure there are some very quick thirst traps you can go through on TikTok if you don't want to watch the full movie.
Not of Harrison Ford. No.
You know what? You're gonna get one of your DMs. Just letting you know.
Oh my gosh! Please include me in that DM. I want to see so I can laugh.
Look, okay. Yes, Indiana Jones is probably the as a franchise.
Mhm.
The story of Indiana Jones is probably on its last, it's on its last legs. We know this. Harrison Ford can't continue this character.
Yeah.
However, opening up to the whole action adventure, really classical, that kind of thing, like not really spy, but also kind of spy, like there's a little bit of technology, all that stuff,
Yeah.
aliens, I don't know, whatever you want, I don't care. It's a movie, guys. It's for fun. Okay. So it doesn't have to make
Yeah.
sense, really, as long as you're having a good time. Gameplay, or game, I should say. I really hope the gameplay is solid. And
Right.
hopefully we can have better whip cracking than in Lego and Star Wars. I mean, the Lego Indiana Jones, according to Axel.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Jacob Novak type.
I'm pretty.
He goes, Axel is a traitor.
No, and how is a whip? How is a whip? I don't know. Whips aren't demasculating. I don't know. They're pretty dangerous in anyone's
They are dangerous, but when you think about any fictional character out there that has a whip, they're all women. Right. Look at all the superhero women with whips. All right, you don't see a superhero man.
You don't have Wonder Woman and Catwoman.
No.
Simon says hi, Terry.
But it's just
my ex it's loved when I whipped her crack.
Are we talking physical whip or whipped cream? Let's get details here.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Never
but
mind.
That's a miracle whip. I don't know.
Whipped your crack. Okay. Yeah. What kind of whip are we talking about here? Let's catch up with the chat real quick because we got a lot of amazing people hanging out with us this morning. As I said, Jacob Novak is here. Axel's wife Louise is in the chat. What's going on? Dead Proof hanging out with us as well. We got Eric the Red. We got Sir X-Man and Jesse Darby here with us. Tim A is hanging out with us as well. We got a super chat coming in from our good friend Splendiferous. Not quite sure what he means by this, but here it is. Axel, if you'd like to do the honors. $5.
Splendiferous says, Noof, we did a new panel this morning. I can't recognize a lot of the people in here this morning except for Doomy. You guys are breaking my heart. There's a lot of anger here, a lot of cursing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we said that's upsetting Splendiferous this morning, but hey, just opinions.
He can't handle the difference in opinion. That's what it is. He can't handle it.
You know what?
I'm a big Sony guy, but yeah.
I'm just saying. When it comes to Indiana Jones, like I've seen a few of the movies. Like honestly, like when you think of the Indiana Jones films, like none of the storylines, like I don't even remember the storylines. Everybody remembers iconic scenes from the movies, but like I don't even remember what the storylines were in these movies. Like that's how little impact they had. Right. Everybody remembers, pits of snakes, giant boulders rolling down, and in crazy, car chases in the desert. No one remembers what the heck the stories were.
Can I just say I don't remember every single line in The Witcher, the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Because
of Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what? My wife really loves The Witcher on Netflix as well.
She loves the plot. Of course she does.
What's the point of The Witcher, wife? I'm kind of curious. Now, I feel that Indiana Jones as a character should have been given the James Bond treatment, where every few years a new character would play, the hero. That way, the series would keep fresh. Because now fans are into this. Only Harrison Ford can be Indiana Jones. Only Harrison Ford can do it. And whereas if George Lucas would have continued making Indiana Jones movies and kept the series relevant with new actors, like the James Bond series does, I think I would be more excited. But the memories I have of Indiana Jones movies is they're not awful movies. They're just kind of pointless movies because everything he does is pointless because in the end, everything that he's trying to stop happens anyway.
Maybe
it's like, delaying the inevitable.
Hey, don't highlight that, dude. It wasn't his chest. I wasn't. But anyway,
my thoughts on it all. I mean, obviously, Indiana Jones is going to have a different feel and meaning for people that were groomed on it. I mean, again, I'm a big child of the '80s. Indiana Jones was a very big franchise for me. I remember the first 3 movies vividly, and then basically it was pretty much done. It was they kind of brought Indy out of retirement, and the last one, the Legend of the Crystal Skull, and for the large part, it was definitely the weakest of the 4 Indiana Jones movies. It started promising, but then it's like anything. You start killing it when it gets a little too tacky. You try to go a little too over the top, and the whole Shia LaBeouf thing at the end, the swinging through the jungle like friggin' Tarzan, that was absolutely like, what are you doing? That sort of stuff. The way Indiana Jones is going, yes, the character could live on forever. Obviously, Harrison Ford's not going to do it, but as long as they don't have Tom Holland either, like, oh my God.
Tom Holland's everything now.
I'm sorry, yeah.
He's so pretty.
Yeah, well, that's the
exactly.
problem, right?
He's so pretty. That's the problem.
He should have never been Nathan Drake.
He did say after the recent Spider-Man, or what the recent Spider-Man he's finished filming. I don't know which one that is.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't want to do action films for a little while because he wants to start a family. So.
Oh, very good.
So yeah.
Does he have a wife?
Isn't he dating Zendaya? No.
Zendaya?
Is that it? Okay.
I don't know. Whenever I look at him, I always think he always looks like he's 12. Like, I don't know. Like,
no, he's not. He's 29.
I know, but he looks like he's 12.
Yeah, he looks like he's 12.
He's got a baby face. He looks like he's 12.
Well, if I was married to Zendaya or dating Zendaya, I'd want to be starting a family too. But like Indiana Jones, and this is the thing, right? It's too bad that the game itself, when they make it, it's probably not going to launch alongside of the movie. The movie comes out next May, I think it is. The game is likely a good year further out. Like we might see something on it this year. They haven't given us a timeline, but some people expect that we will see at least something, legitimate, because it's been a few years now since they did the teaser trailer, and I think it was at the Game Awards a couple of years ago or whatever it was. So they should be somewhere, with substantial development at this point in time. But again, it's how it resonates. I mean, obviously you can capture on the recent success of the Tomb Raider resurgence, but it is what it is. One of those games that's hard to say. Like, when you talk about Indiana Jones, the game, some people are going to be like, wow, I'm super excited. Like me, I'm super excited, right? But for a lot of the new generation, it probably means very little because they're like, Indiana Jones, who and what is that? A lot of people probably heard the music, but they don't really resonate. There's a lot of kids that never even watched the old Terminators, or they didn't watch the old 80s and 90s movies and stuff like that. Like I said, the last Indiana Jones was certainly not a phenomenal movie. The games weren't too bad. I just recently last year went back and started playing the Xbox one, which is back compatible. What's it? The Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, I think it is. Pretty good. The games actually haven't been too bad. The even that game holds up pretty well by today's standards. It's not actually bad. It looks pretty good, especially on the back and pat now. It's kind of nice and crispy looking, And the Indiana Jones Lego games are bad.
Third person. If
it is third person.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the old game is. Yeah, the old games have always been.
No, the new
I think the new one would be.
Dang.
Yeah, I think the new game will be third person. I suspect because it's machine games, there might be an element of the game at some point, perhaps, where they draw you into first person. Like maybe there's a shooting segment or something. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Todd Howard did kind of say like it's got a lot of things going on. So what he means by that is it's hard to say, but yeah, I definitely think they go first person is going to be a big mistake. People won't resonate. You want to see the character. You want to feel like you are. We don't need Indiana Jones Doom Edition or Wolfenstein Edition. You know what I mean? That's not what people want. They'd be stupid to do with that. And if they obviously do, I think then the studio's completely out of touch with what I'd say 90% of the fans would want. I'm sure that's probably the fan. They're going, yes, I hope it's first person. But let's go into chat. The new Indiana Jones comes out, the game. Do you hope it's third or first person? People in the chat, third or first? Put it down. I want to see how you guys feel. See if we're right here. All right. Google Poe. Indiana Jones is not popular, but I still love the character movies. A lot of us feel the same way. Like I said, he was popular at one point in time because, again, out of sight, out of mind. It's like any franchise when it doesn't come out for a long time, because it's not popular in the same way that Star Wars is, where pop culture and Lego games and toys have sort of carried over the franchises, so to speak.
Yeah. Lots of third persons.
Third persons, I'm saying.
Google poll. Raiders was the most fun I ever had in a movie with family. More than Star Wars. It was the rowdiest crowd I ever had in a movie.
There you go.
I was like 1 year old, maybe. I
Mhm.
might not have even been born, so I didn't go to the movies. I got it on VHS, baby.
It was
Yeah,
also
well-
the 80s.
Yeah.
It was also
Well,
the 80s. That,
I
you
wasn't
know,
born in the 80s, so but I can
Yeah,
still
was it
appreciate a young Harrison Ford.
what was the first Indiana Jones was 80, I think it was 82, wasn't it 82?
81. Yeah.
81, 81, yeah. And then it was and then of course there was the second one. Forget what the heck was it called?
Was it Raiders?
No, Raiders of the Lost Ark was the
Temple
first
of
one.
Doom was
Temple of Doom was the
first
second
Doom.
one. Yeah. And then it was The Last Crusade and I think that one came in around 1990. And then of course a big long gap after before they did the Crystal Skull. That's kind of funny too. Is I was just watching that movie. Was it Everything Everywhere All at Once or whatever with Michelle
Yeah, with
Yeoh?
Michelle Yeoh or
Yeah,
whatever.
and the actor that's in that, her husband, that's Short Round. That's the guy that was the little kid in
Yeah, yep.
in the second movie. I was like, holy crap, I haven't seen him forever. And it's kind of funny because his voice didn't really change that much. He grew up, but his voice is still kind of like the same. It's like, oh my god, he still sounds like Short Round. Hey now, Mr.
It
Jones.
still sounds like Short Round. Still sounds like him.
Mr. Jones. Come here, Mr. Jones. Yeah, crazy.
I feel that also though it's going to be tough for an Indiana Jones game just because when you look at, I mean, you're going to have the fans, you know, the older generation who know who Indiana Jones is, but you're going to have a lot of the younger generation gamers who don't know who he is, and they're going to be constantly comparing his games to, you know, like Uncharted or Tomb Raider. And they need to be able to make the gameplay in Indiana Jones stand out for itself and not be comparable to those, because otherwise he's just going to get lost in the mix.
Okay, sounds good. So what does the game, lastly, I guess, just what does the game need to do to come out and be a big hit? Is it largely down to depending on how they market this game, and also, I mean, having a movie coming out at least before it will certainly help, right?
Yeah.
But is it largely dependent on how the game is reviewed and scored? Again, coming back to that topic that we had at the top of the show. Like if it comes out and it's like it's everything that people really hope it can be, and it's just, you know, a love letter that looks good, plays good, and scores good. Is that key? And also, should it be multi-plat? Because there is still, even though it's under Microsoft Bethesda, due to old contracts and their agreements with Lucasfilm, that people are saying, even Colt was saying in one of his recent videos, they're still not 100% sure if this would be an Xbox platform exclusive.
Yeah. Are you just talking before?
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, do you guys think it's going to be exclusive, perhaps? Do you think it should be a multi-plat?
I think it should be exclusive. If they can get Wolverine and Spider-Man exclusive, we should get Indiana Jones exclusive again. That's my pettiness.
Yep.
Coming out, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry if it's not exclusive because I still get to play it. So only the pettiness in me wants it to be exclusive. But at the end of the day, I kind of don't care.
Yeah, I have a lot of PC gamer friends, and I don't want them to miss out on this game.
Well, it would be on PC Game Pass for sure, right?
Yeah, it definitely would.
I don't think the PC or the Xbox crowd, again, it goes over to PlayStation and maybe to a.
So you're saying just make it console exclusive?
It should just be Game Pass exclusive. Wherever Game Pass exists.
Xbox, yeah, Xbox exclusive in terms of, you know, Xbox platforms and Game Pass, obviously, more or less, right?
All right, I think Indiana Jones, I think the game needs to be multi-plat, just because I really don't think it's going to do very well. Even when you look at the sales of like Tomb Raider and Uncharted, Tomb Raider is fantastic. I love it, but it as a multi-plat, it does not do as great as people think it does. It really doesn't. So Indiana Jones, I think, would do even worse, just because you know, we have a huge generational gap when it comes to Indiana Jones. And gamers today. So I really think that it would not survive as an exclusive. It just will not do very well. It needs to try to get as many players as possible. I don't know. It's just,
I think it's a game that I agree with you, Terry. I think it's a game that it could be, but at the same time, I think it would stand a better chance of being at least really successful if it was kind of everywhere. It is a universal property, but you know,
I've had quite a few people when And this is to go back to Fortnite when the Indiana Jones skin was inside Fortnite. They had a little, I don't know if any of you guys play it, but they had like a little dig site that you went to. There was like a crumbling like trap maze that you went through, and you could uncover treasures in there, and just really, really cool, interesting stuff. And I think there was multiple people who were in their early 20s that actually, because you had to grind like different like challenges to actually unlock this skin. I didn't unlock it myself, but and they really loved it. They thought it was great. So who knows? I'm hopeful for it, just because if this is the last time that we're going to see Harrison Ford. Sorry, I was reading the chat at the same time. If this is the last time, you guys. If this is the last time we see Harrison Ford, it might as well be good. The end. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Preach. Let's hope he gets finished on a strong note. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. So.
Oh my God. I'll just hold on. I'll just hide under the table.
And we're getting ready to close the show. Jago's taking us down the rabbit hole here. Anyway, let's wrap the show. Let's get the outros done. It's been a dynamite episode. Can't thank Doom Cutie enough for being here. She came in at last minute's notice, and I always wanted to get her on Good Morning Xbox. And hopefully we'll have her back in the future. Make sure you go follow her, and she'll let you know how. So Doom Cutie, to your outros.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Noof. This was fantastic. Even though, I had to change out of my pajamas. To get on here, but no.
Come on, you got no bottoms on there, right? That's what you just put the top on. Oh, she got bottoms. Look.
Very much. No, fantastic. Thank you for having me. Great to be on the show with you guys, and the chat's been awesome. God, I can't believe I did that. But yeah, if you are looking for me, you can find me on Twitter under Doom Cutie. I stream intermittently at the moment just because work has been quite busy, but over Christmas time and after that during the summer, I'll be on the more regular. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
Well, we love having you here, and we wish you much continued support and success.
Thank you.
We'll have you back, and we got to play some more games sometime soon. Just got to get those time zones to work out. We're really early, we're really late. It's kind of weird. Axel 1324. Obviously, let people know what's happening with you. As I mentioned at the start of the show, you guys had another phenomenal Iconic Video Games podcast. I really love what you're doing there, Axel. I've said it on Twitter, and I'll say it a million times. You guys have a great dynamic, and it's a super fun show. Having as well, Phasma was a great guest. She really bought into it, and it was good. And I love catching it live because I really love to be part of the interaction. It's great afterwards, but being in your shows live, like in the chat and interacting as the show goes, is what really makes it special. Let people know where they can catch up with you, that amazing little podcast, and everything else you got going on.
Yeah, thank you so much for all those kind words, Noof. I appreciate it. I am Axel1324. You can follow me here on YouTube, Axel1324 Gaming. Just add gaming right here. There we go, right there. And you can find me on Twitter and on Xbox, Axel1324, exactly how you see it spelled right there. I am the host of the Iconic Video Games podcast, where we only talk video games of the past, present, and future that we're looking forward to. No consoles, no services, just games. And it is an interactive podcast with our chat where we play games, we do quizzes. If you ever wanted to interact with the podcasters, that's the show to be on.
There you go. And Cool Cat Terri, if she's not hanging out with us dorks, she's always doing her own streaming. She's got a couple of different shows on the go as well. Cool Cat, let people know where they can catch up with you and your content.
All right, you can go ahead and catch me over on Twitch, Cool Cat Terri, like you see here. I had going to be playing Need for Speed Unbound. I've been looking forward to it. I'm a big Need for Speed fan. I haven't been able to touch it because I've been, working the last few days. And I literally wake up at 5 a.m. and I don't get home till 7 p.m. and I have to be in bed by 9. So that means no gaming on work days. So I'm finally going to be able to crack into it. I'm looking forward to it. So you guys go and check that out over on Twitch. And then I also have, 2 different YouTube channels. I got my Cool Cat Terri YouTube channel, which is gaming related with my Just a Glimpse podcast on there that I do solo, which it's really hard doing a podcast by yourself. but you go ahead and check that out. And then I also have my other channel, Cool Cat's Alley, which is all automobile stuff. So if you're into automotive media, go and check that out as well. And then I'm also on Instagram, and you can find me over on Twitter, CoolCat_Terri on Twitter. But all the good things. I'm everywhere.
Yeah. And never say Cool Cat Terri doesn't represent Xbox. Look at that. She got a Gears of War shirt, an Xbox Series X hat, and look at that swag in the background. She even got the Xbox trophy. Look at that. She representing. We all representing up in here. It's fantastic. And Jim Cutie, obviously the panel and the chat have voted unanimously that they want to see you come back. So we hope that you will honor us in the future.
Yeah, hopefully
I'll give you more
than 8
notice.
minutes notice would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, the fact that you got here in 8 minutes, that's even more impressive. That's that's great. Thank you for honoring us. It means a lot to us, and we'll have you back in the future. As for Eternal Shaddai, technicalities kept him away from us this week, guys, but we hope that he'll be back with us next week. And Scrub Nurse is away on work duty, so hopefully we'll have a full panel back out in force next Sunday. And I think it's next Sunday our last show prior to Christmas, I guess. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, next Sunday is right after the Game Awards, I think. The Game Awards.
Oh, so we'll have
and Sunday comes in, and
there's going to be so many podcasts that week. Yeah. That's going to be crazy.
Well, we'll keep our conversations down to the main couple categories. We're not going to go through the whole thing. It'll take us forever and a day. But this was a beautiful and fun show. The chat was awesome, as always. If I didn't give you a shout-out, I apologize to everybody that's here. Thank you for your love and support. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Share this out with all your friends and let people know that this is a great little Xbox-centric podcast. We talk about a little bit of everything from time to time, but we have a lot of fun being here. It's good to be back in the saddle, and thank you all so much. We'll catch you next week, like I said, for, I guess, a Game Award wrap-up and essentially a pre-Christmas show. So take care, everybody. Have yourself a fantastic Sunday, or Monday, depending on where you are.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.